everyone. Welcome back to the Pathways to Happiness podcast. My name is Nena Lavonne. I'm a life coach that specializes in personal development and life transformation. And today we are going to be talking all about feeling unattractive and being unhappy with how we look. Now, this is something that affects more people than you could possibly realize. So if you are feeling this way, you are definitely not alone. Before we jump into the topic, I just wanted to, as always, take a moment to thank you so much for being such an incredible audience and for all your wonderful comments. They are so insightful and interesting. I love reading them. And always thank you for your support both here and on the Nena Lavonne YouTube channel. Your feedback has just been incredible, so I could not be more appreciative for that. So thank you so much. And without further ado, I wanted to just hop right into today's topic about feeling unattractive. So we've all heard it before, how we should really love ourselves no matter what, and that we're all perfectly imperfect and that we're beautiful just the way we are. And all those statements are actually 100% true. But sometimes we just can't relate to these statements. Sometimes they just feel like empty words or platitudes written by people who have no idea what it actually feels like to feel unattractive. Sometimes we just don't like what we see in the mirror. But today we're going to attack this from all angles. I know you already know how much thinking this way can really harm our mental health and, of course, our self-esteem. But it really goes deeper than that. It begins to affect everything because at the core of this, we are really rejecting ourselves. And we really just cannot continue down this path. So we'll be talking about where these beliefs really come from, how they are reinforced, and we'll talk about some of the toxic behaviors that we have probably adopted ourselves that are making us feel even worse. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how we can reprogram our brain to not only help us feel better about ourselves, but to begin to heal from this. Because make no mistake, feeling this way is traumatic. This is painful. We might be pushing it down, we might be trying to ignore it, but we really can't do that forever. It has to be addressed. And we need to start on a true path to self-love and to self-acceptance. And we'll be talking about exactly how we can do that today. Many of you might be surprised to know that this is a topic that almost always comes up with every client I work with. And they are always surprised to hear how frequently this is an issue for other people. Everyone tends to think that they are the only ones suffering from this, that everyone else is confident or highly attractive. We have to first understand that our own perception of beauty is completely subjective. So even though the media really pounds us with our own ideas of how we're supposed to think about beauty, we do still have our own sense. We also have to understand that it is highly unlikely that we find ourselves to be as attractive as we actually are. This is because when we look in the mirror, we tend to just focus on whatever body parts we feel aren't up to par. So we think of ourselves as a nose or as a stomach or as a crooked tooth or as thinning hair, whatever it is for us, whatever has been mentioned or something that we have decided for our own selves as imperfect in some way. That's what we're going to be looking for and focusing on every single time we are looking in the mirror. So we never see the full picture. We never see the more important picture, which is the person that is wearing that body. So we aren't seeing our essence. We aren't seeing who we are. We are seeing ourselves as a scoreboard. And more often than not, we are consistently giving ourselves a low score. Another issue is that many people get told they are unattractive, either indirectly or directly. It happens all the time. And even if it just happens one time by someone who doesn't even really mean it, it sticks with us. We can get a million compliments, but we will always remember that one criticism and think about it way more often than any of the compliments we receive. Now, I've heard a bunch of different statistics about this, and they all are a little bit different, but most say the majority of women, like 78% or something around there, spend at least an hour a day worrying about how they look and judging themselves. Now, men do it too. It is to a lesser degree, and I don't have a separate statistic for it, but it certainly does happen. But for women, it averages out to over 12 hours a week that they spend being sad about how they look. That means a lot of people are feeling upset about their appearance a lot of the time. So insecurity is way more common than we think, and it's across the board. And because we are automatically always rating ourselves as less attractive than the person next to us, it's always surprising to hear that those same people are also worrying about their looks. And I mean, we can really look at the media for this. I mean, look at what is on television, look at what is presented on social media and in magazines. Everywhere we look is people that are surgically enhanced or airbrushed or, run through 1,000 filters. We're never seeing what real life people look like anymore. So we are always comparing ourselves when we wake up in the morning with someone who has had so many alterations made on their appearance, and we are, thinking that we're inferior, when in reality, if we went through all those things, we would look exactly the same way, but we never think of it that way. We just think we need to roll out of bed and look like the person that we are seeing on the next reality show. So it is really toxic for us, but we do it too. Look at how we look at other people's photos a lot of times. Look at how critical we are of other people. Or I heard a conversation recently between two people talking about a news anchor and how she isn't that attractive. And I mean, of course, she was highly attractive, but I mean, we've gotten so used to seeing these perfect people that are, beyond perfect, that our own perception is so skewed at this point. And we have suddenly found it acceptable to be rating other people all the time and openly judging other people for how they look. And I hear all the time people talking about different photos that people have posted on their social media and being very harsh and critical about those photos. I don't know where we have gotten this feeling that it's okay to judge others this way and to judge ourselves this way. We've just become so judgmental and about something that is so superficial, and we are making it so big. And think about selfies. We are constantly taking pictures of ourselves, which is an interesting thing to think about psychologically. But think about when someone posts a selfie and how we are judging that. So we automatically assume that they are arrogant or narcissistic. But they are feeling that same pressure as well. They may just feel that they actually looked good in that picture and they are seeking validation. They want a chance for applause because they are always feeling bad about how they look, and they think that maybe if they post this picture, it'll get a lot of likes or a lot of comments. I mean, it is a vicious cycle we have gotten ourselves into. The amount of energy we are collectively placing on external appearance is just really, really out of hand. It is making us sick as a culture. We are losing the sense of who we really are as people, and we are undervaluing ourselves to such an extreme extent. We are simply not what we look like externally. That is not who we are. That is just the smallest fraction of what makes up who we are. And it has become pretty much our entire focus. We are all guilty of spending way too much time caring about our looks and caring about other people's looks. It's got to stop. We have got to stop worrying about how we look to other people. It is wasted energy that does nothing but harm ourselves and keep us from living our best lives. Because it's always there, gnawing in the background, making us feel less than other people, even though that is not true in the least. So how can we push past this? What is the solution? How can we start to feel better about ourselves? The first thing, and I think probably the most important thing, is that we need to start to adopt a positive inner dialogue. If we actually sat down and wrote on a piece of paper the things that we tell to ourselves and that we think in our head about ourselves, we would be shocked at what a bully we are to our own selves. We are cruel to ourselves. I know we don't mean to be, but the things we say to ourselves are absolutely terrible and oftentimes not at all based in reality. So we assume these terrible things about ourselves, and then we repeat them to ourselves again and again and again. Every time we think about ourselves and every time we look in our mirror, we just reinforce to ourselves everything we don't like about ourselves. And so, of course, we are feeling sad all the time. We never look in the mirror and say, wow, we look great today, or wow, we're a really wonderful person. We only focus on the negative, and this is something that absolutely has to stop. We have to stop doing this. We have to do the exact opposite, because just like for the people that we love in our life, how we talk matters, what we say matters, and how we think matters. We would never tell a child, oh, you're ugly, your ears are weird, or you're short. We don't say that to people. We build them up. But we say that to ourselves all the time. We are so critical to ourselves. So the first thing is noticing how we are treating ourselves. And then from there, we need to make serious corrections to that. We need to actually build ourselves up, because guess what? Our subconscious is always listening to us. So if we are telling ourselves every single day that we are unattractive, our subconscious gets on board with that and starts to believe that to be reality, whether or not that is true. I have had clients that are models that sometimes feel so unattractive that they don't want to leave their house. So this is something that is completely of self-creation so much of the time. So we can instead start to build ourselves up. Think about what you need to hear from yourself and actually tell yourself those things. We need to be the one to love and accept ourselves and be a friend to ourselves, especially when we're hurting. So many times we have these painful and traumatic memories and these feelings surrounding feeling unattractive, and we need to be the ones to comfort ourselves, because it is very sad and hard to feel this way. And if we make it worse by telling ourselves nasty things all the time, how are we ever supposed to feel self-confident? How are we ever supposed to have a healthy self-esteem when we are always berating ourselves and belittling ourselves? So notice when we do it and start doing the exact opposite. I want you to start every single day giving yourself positive affirmations. Yes, maybe there is a feature that you have that is unique, that is different than other people. That does not mean it's unattractive. That is completely subjective. I know I mentioned in a recent podcast about one of my clients that was so embarrassed about her teeth, and it was something that I thought was so beautiful about her, that she had that little cute gap between her front teeth. And it's something that I felt only made her more attractive. Beauty is how we choose to look at it. So we can choose to see the good in ourselves, and we can choose to see the good in the other people that we are around, or we can choose to focus on the negative. But when we focus on the negative, it again does nothing but make us sick. So we need to start really focusing on the positive and giving ourselves loving, positive affirmations every single day, verbally, even out loud, and not just inside of our heads. Say it to ourselves in the mirror. Write post-its and put them all around your house if you need to. But you need to start surrounding yourself with love and positivity all the time. The second thing that we have to remember that we oftentimes forget is that the people that matter in our life love us for who we are, not how we look. It doesn't mean that they don't find you attractive, but even physical attraction factors in the essence and the personality of the person. You are a whole being. You are not just how you look. And the people in your life appreciate and love you for who you are. They're not wanting to be around you every single day because you have great hair or great fingernails. They want to be around you because they love you. They enjoy spending time with you. It is not always about that external layer of yourself. Think about the people that you love. Are you loving them because of how they look? Of course you aren't. You're loving them for who they are. So you have to remember that, even though we are judging ourselves all the time, that doesn't mean that other people are judging us all the time or even caring about how we look. That is something that we are putting on ourselves. So just remember that if other people aren't focusing on it, we can also choose to not focus on it. Another thing that we have to do is that we have to accept how we look. Now, I'm not saying we have to come to terms with being unattractive, because that's not the case in the first place, but we need to toss the idea of being unattractive out the window. We need to find peace with our image in the mirror. Again, we need to be a friend to ourselves. We need to love ourselves. We didn't choose how we look. But we're also not appreciating what we do have. We're just focusing on everything we don't like about ourselves. We're not seeing the reality. So we need to just finally accept how we look. Just like in our everyday life, when we can learn to accept and appreciate how our life actually is, as opposed to constantly resisting that and wanting it to be a different way, we can really enjoy how we look if we just accept it. We can start to see more positive things about ourselves if we just say, hey, yeah, this is how I am. This is what I look like. And you know what? That's great. And I'm happy. I'm proud to look this way. I'm happy I was born this way because there's no mistakes. I was born this way on purpose. It was what was considered to be best for me. And I agree with that. I am enjoying my life. I'm enjoying how I look, and I am accepting of how I look. And once you do that, other people can get on board with that as well. Another thing we need to do is to stop defining ourselves by our looks. We need to focus inward. Of course, we are not our looks. It gets the majority of our attention, but that really shouldn't be the case. That is just the culture that we are in now. But we can learn to start thinking differently. We can start defining ourselves instead by the things that really matter, like who we are as a person, what we really value, the things that we choose to include in our life, the way we choose to enrich our lives and grow as a person. These are the things that define us, not how we look outside. So we need to start really focusing inward a lot more. Another thing that we can do is to stop accepting the media-defined beauty ideals. We can start thinking for ourselves. We can begin by finding beauty in the other people that we meet. We are all beautiful. We are all equal. We don't have to accept the ideals that the media is presenting to us all the time. We always have the choice to reject those ideals. We get to think about life as however we want to think about it. And that's what I choose to do. I choose to see beauty in everyone I meet, because you know what? Everyone I meet really is beautiful. I can see something that is amazing and fascinating in every single person. And I'm sure you can do exactly the same thing. So make your own decision about how you are going to judge yourself and how you're going to judge other people, and judge them kindly, because why not do that? Why make it more negative than it has to be? I know it's a habit because that is how we are conditioned to think and behave, but we always have the choice to think freely and make our own decisions about something so important. Another habit that we need to break is being jealous of other people or envying their beauty. We need to stop prizing it as something that is the most coveted thing in the world, because I will tell you the truth, beauty does not solve problems. Even people that are highly, highly attractive by the stereotypical standards are 0% more happy than other people. Literally 0% more happy. Just because we feel it is an area that we have been conditioned to believe we are deficient in for some reason, even again, though it's not true, we tend to think that people who really cohere to the standards of beauty that we are assuming are superior to us aren't any happier at all. First of all, they don't think of themselves as attractive usually. I know that's hard to believe because they usually exude that confidence, but oftentimes, because so much emphasis has been placed on their own physical appearance, they are very self conscious about it. And it's something that they think of a lot of times even more than, other people do. But they are not any happier. And the reason is because external beauty has nothing to do with happiness and life satisfaction. External beauty is something that is fleeting, first of all. It fades. It doesn't matter if even we have it for a while. We get older, things change. Physical beauty is something that simply does not last. So if we place so much emphasis on it, we are effectively saying that we are only going to be happy when we are feeling physically attractive. And if for some reason that changes, then we can't be happy anymore, which is basically what we're doing all the time. We are saying we can't be happy because we don't like how we look. So it's an equation for us. How we feel about ourselves externally, we think is going to be how we should feel about ourselves internally, which is something that is not the case at all. First of all, we need to learn to, like we talked about, feel good about ourselves externally and stop judging ourselves. But we need to learn to feel good internally, regardless of how we look. That is such an important thing to remember. Remember, we have the power to choose how we feel about ourselves and about life. And we have the opportunity to decide how we're going to think about ourselves from day to day. So we can start from this day forward to think of ourselves as an attractive person. Because guess what? That is the reality. It does not matter what other people have been telling you. We get to make that decision for ourselves. We get to decide if we are attractive. So we can choose to make that decision right now if we want to. And there's, again, no reason not to do that. It does nothing but empower ourselves and make us feel better about life. Who says we can't be bald and attractive or have a big nose and be attractive? We get to make these judgments for our own selves. And the second we start doing that, the second we are going to feel better about ourselves, because it is not one size fits all. Everybody's different and everybody is beautiful. Something else that can be really beneficial is to find healthy ways to boost your self-esteem. So maybe right now you're not feeling so great in this one area, even though we're working on it. But you can also think about the areas of your life where you feel confident, that you know that you are excelling already, and you can focus on these things. And you can also do different activities that help you build your self-esteem. You can kind of get out of the comfort zone. You can try new things. You can work on other aspects of your life that you want to build. So for example, if you have a hobby that you want to start, why not start on that now and start enjoying that and learning about something new or meeting new people? But whatever you think will make you feel better about yourself, these are activities that are highly beneficial to start incorporating in your life. And another thing to consider is thinking about the different things that make you feel bad about yourself in your life or the people in your life that are toxic. Think about if there are any places or people that are actually contributing to you feeling this way. That's an important realization to have, because if it's a place, we don't have to go to that place. And if it's a person, you can either change the dynamics of your relationship with that person or ultimately decide, this person does not make me feel good about myself. This is possibly a person that I want to avoid or spend less time with, or spend, time only when it has to do with work or whatever it is. But you want to see if there are any people or things in your life that are reinforcing this negative opinion you have about yourself. Because making even small changes in these areas can oftentimes make you feel a lot better about yourself right away. So just identifying that. And also, spending time doing new things, really making sure that you are getting out in the world and you're spending time outdoors and you are really expanding your horizons so that you can clearly see that life is more than about just how you look. It's hard when you are outside underneath the stars to feel badly about yourself, because you are seeing the majesty of the world and just how huge the world is. And so often we just focus on these little tiny, teeny aspects about ourselves, and we are forgetting the whole picture, that we are here on this beautiful earth and we have the opportunity to live an incredible life. But oftentimes we are shrinking ourselves and putting ourselves in these little tiny cages, and again, judging ourselves. So make sure that you get out in the world and you give yourself lots of distractions and lots of reminders of how big and beautiful this world really is. We really get so caught up in our own heads, and when that happens, it makes it seem like that is all that the world consists of. I mean, I know, I've been there. I know what it's like to be inside of your head and that to really turn into your reality. But what you focus on expands. So if you focus on the good things in the world, if you focus on the blessings in your life, then you're going to start to see more of that. You're going to notice the good things more. Because again, when we're swimming in negativity, what do we see? We see all the negative things in life. Not just about ourselves, but about life in general. Because that's where our mentality is. That's what our focus is on. So that's something that we actually have a great deal of control over, is how we are choosing to see the world. So we need to commit to seeing the world for how beautiful it is, instead of focusing again on all these negative aspects all the time. So smile, have fun, go and start to enjoy life again. Happier people feel more attractive naturally, and they feel more excited about life. And life should be happy. Life should be exciting. So that's what we want to focus on. We want to focus on the big picture. You are not your features. You are not your hair. You are not your skin. You are not being too tall. You are not being too short. It is none of that. That is not who you are. You are an amazing person that is filled with so many interesting and amazing facets. And it is unfortunate when we get into the habit of just really focusing on those one or two things that we wish could be different. I want you to think about celebrating every aspect of yourself and offering all these aspects of yourself love, because we need to love all of ourselves, because that's who we are. We are a person. We are a full person. We're not this one thing or that one thing. And we deserve to love ourselves. We deserve to offer ourselves acceptance. Every person deserves to feel accepted and loved. And we are the person that is responsible for loving ourselves. It shouldn't be coming externally. External love is nice, it can feel very good, but more importantly, we need to have inner love and inner acceptance, because at the end of the day, this is the person that you will be with for every single day you are alive. So you need to start really taking care of that person and honoring that person and loving that person. It doesn't matter what other people think or other people say. I know that it is inescapable that we will receive criticisms throughout our life. That will come no matter what. Yes, we will hear that. But it's up to us to decide how we interpret that, how we process that information, and how important we make it. We can have it go in one ear and go out the other ear, or we can let it destroy our lives. And my suggestion to you and my hope for you is that you let it go. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks in this world. It only matters what you think. And that is something that you have 100% control over. First of all, you are beautiful. You are much more beautiful than you are giving yourself credit for. I can tell you that hands down. I know that without even seeing you. But you need to start believing that. You need to start understanding that and really letting that sink in. Now is the time for you to accept yourself and love yourself and go live your best life. So I thank you so much for spending time with me. I wish you so much love and healing during this process. I know it's hard to let go of an image that you've been holding on to for a long time, but the fact of the matter is that image isn't real. It's not true. It is not based in reality. It's just a bunch of negative thoughts that we have compiled together to create this very toxic image we have of ourselves, but that is not real. You are an amazing person, and I look forward to you understanding that and knowing that for yourself. So I thank you so much for spending time with me today. I look forward to talking to you next time, and I truly hope that your day is extraordinary.